4 new startups ready to present their 5-minute pitch to the jury. And again, after that, there's 5 minutes time for the jury to ask their questions and get the answers that they're looking for. I hope we're all ready. Jury, ready to go. Get your notebooks and get your scoring ready. And also presenters, good luck on this 3rd round. Now, over to Javier Jimenez. He's representing Nails Newborn Solutions. And this startup develops patented medical devices, software, and disposables to non-invasively detect and monitor infectious diseases. Javier, I'll start your clock. Good luck.
Thank you. Can you see me then?
You're good. Yep, ready to go.
Good. Thank you. So I'm Javier Jimenez, founder and CEO of Newborn Solutions. Thanks for having me here. Did you know that meningitis, collectively with sepsis, is the 2nd biggest infectious killer of children under 5? Meningitis can kill a baby in a matter of hours if not detected promptly. In industrialized regions like Europe, where the incidence is relatively low, the problem really is to suspect meningitis. As it can present with only a fever, and the only method for detection by protocol is a lumbar puncture. Invasive and painful procedure, but highly inefficient as well. Although requiring 2 experts to be performed, 1 pediatrician and 1 nurse, in up to 50% of neonatal cases, blood contaminates the sample, hampering early and accurate diagnosis. There are patients who don't tolerate the lumbar puncture because they have respiratory problems, coagulopathies, etc. In all these cases, unnecessary antibiotic treatment and hospitalization is given, costing European hospitals more than €1 billion every year, despite knowing beforehand that 95% of these babies will not have meningitis. But 1 single case detected justifies all these inefficiencies. So we have to stop this urgently. And that is why we have developed the first medical device to non-invasively detect and monitor infant meningitis. The device is placed on the fontanelle of the baby, the area of the head where the bones are not closed yet. And at the push of a button, it measures the level of white blood cells in the cerebrospinal fluid right below the fontanelle. Only in those very few cases where this cell count exceeds very well-defined diagnostic thresholds for meningitis, should those very few cases receive a lumbar puncture, an appropriate treatment and monitoring and hospitalization. In the triage screening phase, lumbar puncture is our only direct competitor. If we move to the diagnosis phase, culture is the standard procedure to provide pathogen identification within 1, 2, 3 days. Competitors here are aiming at reducing this time, and molecular diagnostic devices are leading the area, but they still are expensive and have limited coverage of pathogens. Remember, they still need the sample to perform. The Neosonics will also be used for monitoring by tracking cell count decay as a positive response to treatment. You don't want to perform repeated lumbar punctures on babies to receive that information, given the risks that are involved. The market is €1 billion globally and growing, and the growth potential is also high. We are collaborating and exploring with other demanding and interested hospitals, the other infections happening in other fluids of the body. We are also developing a value proposition based on data to further support diagnostic and treatment decisions. It is definitely an interesting market, given the number of acquisition deals that take place in the sector once market adoption has been shown, and revenues often in excess of €5 million are generated. We have identified some of these potential buyers with strategic interest in infections or the technology. How will we do this? So we will sell our devices and disposables to strategic partners with global commercialization capabilities and a network of clients. But to engage with them, first, we will work with local commercialization agents and small medical devices companies in target countries so that we will be able to generate first sales and also show market adoption. They will sell the device for €10,000 and the disposables for €50. This pricing model allows pediatricians to use their budget department to directly purchase the device without approval from central procurement, and also allows for interesting margins for our partners and ourselves. We will enter the meningitis market by 2023, and we'll launch second-line applications in subsequent years, with projected break-even by 2024 and aggregated revenues by 2026 of €70 million, with meningitis accounting for €50 million of those, and disposables accounting for 69% of these revenues. we're good for 2021, but we're looking for 3 million euros for 2022, when we will obtain our CE mark approval. We want to accomplish the following milestones: to build mass production capabilities, to conduct a commercially oriented clinical study involving 1,000 patients, to reach commercialization agreements, and to further protect our IP. And we are prepared for this. In our team involves international key opinion leaders, experts coming from industry-leading companies, and investors with commercialization capabilities and intent. Together, we will bring to market the new standard to detect and monitor infant meningitis and other infections. So will you join us and help us make it count? Thank you.
Well done, Javier. Good pitch. I'd say let's get to our judges and see what they want to know. Who wants to start off?
Hi, Javier. Aidan here. I'm just wondering how it works. So it's ultrasonic. Does it just detect particles and you're assuming they're white blood cells?
Exactly. It's based on ultrasound technology. We're using one single element transducer, which gives us a higher signal to noise ratio, and because of the way the energy is deposited, higher sensitivity. But we also developed this disposable. It's a coupling membrane. It gives us the extra sensitivity that we need. It's really a coupling material that goes from the transducer to tissue, so no other media involved, and allows maximum transfer of signal.
But how do you know it's a white blood cell? Is it just a particle?
Oh, because yeah, so we can detect white blood cells. The pattern we receive is clearly different from those of red blood cells, but don't get me wrong. We have this information about different types classification from the lab. Within in vivo, we've seen only white blood cells because that's what you expect in this type of patients with that indication. So if you are suspecting meningitis, you don't expect to have red blood cells in the cerebrospinal fluid. Otherwise, in a healthy state, the cerebrospinal fluid is called rock water. So there should be mostly nothing. It doesn't differentiate from the water you're drinking right now.
Oh, bless you. Is there anyone else on the jury who's wondering about something, would like to ask a question?
Yeah. Just elaborate on your documentation for this that you have so far, or is that a part of the clinical trial that you're going to set up?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, the documentation that you have for your product so far, how much do you have there?
Documentation,
yeah, for it works, or is it built into your clinical trial?
So in other words, let me rephrase. At what stage of development are we?
Yes, with the documentation. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So we've shown feasibility, clinical feasibility, and we were about to start the proof of concept studies back in March, right before COVID. So the clinical proof of concept study stopped. It will retake this November, fortunately. And in the meantime, what has not stopped has been the industrialization of the equipment. So we are now retraining our users with an industrialized device to start over the proof of concept study that should end by mid-February.
Okay, just to follow on, I'm not clear. Have you got clinical data? So is any of your presentation based on data from patients or not?
Absolutely. So we know very well how data looks like. So we've got from patients without meningitis and from patients with meningitis. And I can tell from patients with hydrocephalus, which also should show lower cellularity there. So we have not initiated proof of concept, but we have, because of different iterations in the prototype, we have interacted much with the patient and we know very much how the data looks like. And now we're ready to start recruitment.
Okay.
We move to next, or maybe an additional question.
One question on the workflow. So you're of course introducing a new device, which currently is not in clinical practice. What was the feedback from nurses and clinics? How they are, and if they are willing to introduce this new step?
It's quite unanimous in this sense. I can tell from our own impression and feedback with usability tests that we have conducted, also interviews, but we have externalized all these market studies based on the need and the solution, as well as on willingness to pay. These are conducted with 28 key opinion leaders involving in Europe and the United States. And all of them agree in very relevant things. One, the need and the solution are very important and relevant. And that's, I think it's very, very important to highlight.
We have
so
some time
they're
for
very looking forward to it. Yeah.
There's a little bit of time for a last question. Who wants to jump in?
Your market for meningitis is very small, pediatric meningitis, and you showed other markets that are a lot larger. Why don't you just go for the larger ones first?
The patient is the most vulnerable. The need is most urgent on the baby, because it's much more difficult to suspect meningitis in this type of patients. From a technical perspective as well, the fontanelle is 3 to 5 millimeters thick only, and the fluid is right below. So if we hit with meningitis in such a most urgent need, we can then extrapolate to the other applications involving adults, of course.
Wonderful, and we're right at 5 minutes. Well done to you, Javier, and good luck in the finals or in the award ceremony, of course.
Thank you.
The judges are going to score the pitch, so I'd say take your pens to paper and let's see who we're going next to. This was, of course, Newborn Solutions, who are focusing on a device to make it easier to diagnose meningitis in very young children. And that's important because nowadays it's only possible through a lumbar puncture, and that, of course, is risky. We're moving to Sweden. OnDosis develops a new way for patients to take their medicines. The device that they developed is a first in category for oral solid medicines, which allows for a digitally controlled dosing in a very flexible way. And presenting for OnDosis today is Jonas Beck. Good luck.
Thank you. Over the past 30 years, scientists have made groundbreaking progress in understanding biology. In the same period, digital technology has evolved immensely. However, we're still broadly taking our medicine the same way we did 30 years ago. Conventional pills and capsules typically provides a one-size-fits-all approach. Already we see precision medicine based on biomarkers and individualization of treatments, and that digital monitoring will be an essential part of the new standard of care. We have identified a huge gap in the market today in terms of individualized dosing to fully realize the potential of medicines. The idea behind OnDosis is to build on micro-unit formulations like powders, granules, and mini tablets, but instead of filling them into capsules or baking them into tablets, we are integrating them with technology. And this allows us to digitally dose the medicine in a precise and flexible manner. Critical data is stored in the device. We keep the medicine safe by using a PIN code, and we solve swallowing issues for children and elderly, since we're using microunits. So this is how the device looks like. It's about 1 hand tall. I will now dispense 5 milligrams. That can be 6.5 or 8. It can be done by the patient, by the doctor, or even fixed program. The medicine is dispensed in this cap, and the patient can take it directly or sprinkle it on food. The medicine is filled in one of these cartridges at the manufacturing plant. The device is also connected to a digital ecosystem, so a mobile app for the patient support, like digital diary, registration of symptoms, adherence support, and we feed in objective health parameters from patient wearables and sensors. All of this data is visualized in a physician dashboard, which enabled remote monitoring and interventions, such as dose adjustments, to improve outcomes. There's a large number of diseases which require individualized dosing. So ADHD, epilepsy, Parkinson, and cancer are some of them. But not to mention also that EMA and FDA are pushing pharma companies to solve dosing for children. We bring significant value to pharma companies for life cycle management opportunities, for pipeline assets, for options for value-added generics, but also simplifying R&D activities. We're a strong and passionate team of 20 people, and since the start in 2017 and the spin-out from AstraZeneca, we've been raising 9 million euros, signed 2 B2B partnerships, and taken a product from concept to verification in 2 years' time. We're using an established business model, so out-licensing technology to pharma companies and generating revenues from upfront fees, royalties, and monetization of data. So OnDosis is typically that technology company contributing with product and digital development, but also protecting the innovation through our patents. On the other side, our partners, the pharma companies, is responsible for drug development, commercialization, and market authorization. We're seeking 7 million to build our digital capabilities and to scale up. The year of 2020 has, despite the pandemic, truly been a tremendous year for us. We have signed a strategic partnership. We now have 4 products in the pipeline going to market, with the first one in 2023. And we target an IPO within the next 3 years' time as we are approaching cash flow positive. You remember our team of 20. This is why we are so passionate about this. We are individualizing medicines for better treatments. We are closing the disease management loop so we can adopt treatments to measured outcomes. And by shifting to home care, we are freeing up healthcare resources. So in short, we make significant impact by opening a new chapter in personalized healthcare. I'm Jonas Beck. I am Head of Business Development at OnDosis. Thank you.
Wonderful. Jonas, well done to you too. Let's move to our jury. And I see that Todd has a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's unclear in your business model who's actually producing the device that you're licensing to the pharma company, and they're actually going to produce the device as well as the therapeutics to go in them, or what's the business model there?
So thanks for the question. I also have with me Martin Olofsson, who is CEO of the company. So I'll hand over the question to him.
Thank you. So depending on, so if you think that the company would be Novo Nordic, they would produce themselves because that's their policy. So they would produce and we will basically give them the right to produce. Smaller players would probably want us to produce for them, which means we have a network of let's say, contract manufacturers delivering at our spec and delivering straight, link to their quality system to that business-to-business pharma. So that could be different depending on what is our end customer, the big pharma or a smaller player.
Okay, thank you.
I see Aiden as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I don't see how this addresses patient compliance. I mean, you still don't know if the patient is actually going to take their medicine. This seems to be kind of more like a smart pill dispenser. So there must be a lot of competitors out there. What differentiates you?
Exactly. So what is different with us is that we have designed this product as a drug-led drug device combination. It's a therapy rather than a tool for helping. It's not in that sense a pill box. It's not in that sense a dispenser. It's a combination.
I'm sorry, I can't actually hear you. Can you come closer to the mic?
Absolutely. So the difference here is that we are a drug device combination. We are drug-led. We are a therapy with these features built into the therapy. Think asthma inhaler, think insulin pen. There's an integration between the therapy and our technology. We are not a smart pill box. We're not a dispenser that's a standalone tool. That helps the commercialization. How this addresses adherence, I would say 2 ways. First of all, in those diseases we talk about now, mental disease and so on, a lot of compliance issues is driven by the fact that patients struggle to find the right individual dose. You overdose, which scares them away, or you underdose, which makes them disappointed on getting some effect. So the fact that we can narrow down and quicker get to an optimized dose will make patients retained on treatment, 1. The second is the base that Jonas talked about. We are linking this to apps, to patient engagement programs and monitoring. So as a smart app will help adherence, we will, but in addition to that, the better individualized dose is going to give a better, let's say, feel in terms of symptom relief from patient's point of view, which also is going to help adherence.
Any other questions from our jury? Maybe Florian or Fabrice?
two questions that associated with each other. One is, how are you going to determine dose for the patient, since all the clinical evidence will have been based on pills that were used in the clinical studies? And the other question is that microformulation, which seems to be quite essential to your model. Who's going to make that? Is that something you have available, or is that something the pharma company will have to come up with?
So I'll start with the last question. And very many drugs already are done in microparticulates. But what's happening today is that you pour that into capsules or you bake that into pills. So many of the target medications we're aiming at in the first wave already exist in those forms. But we do not, limit flexibility by making a pill out of it. We integrate it with technology. So that's the first one. Secondly, there will be a dose-to-dose equivalent. So for each of the programs, we would need to prove through PK studies that 100 milligrams from our device is equivalent in terms of efficacy and safety to 100 milligrams as a pill in a capsule, which is normal standard procedure. So regulatory-wise, it will be like a 505(b)(2), almost like a generic, if you mean.
I understand that part, but if if the pill comes in 100 million, let's say the pill is normally comes in increments of 500 milligrams, but you want to dose it at, say, 400 or at 600, what's the basis for that?
The basis is that those medications we talk about now typically have, let's say, a dose of, in this example, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 milligrams. We will be able to follow that, but you don't need 4 different pills to do that. But with the same, in terms of efficacy and safety, we are talking to FDA and are optimistic around the ability to dose in between that. Because if 500 is proven and 1,000 is proven, 750, indirectly through desktop studies is proven as well. So that's our hypothesis, and we have positive signs from regulatory experts that will work.
Okay, and that is 5 minutes already. Thank you so much, the team from OnDosis, and the jury will write down their scores. Well, OnDosis was one of the startups that's looking at our use of medication, and the little device that they have developed and want to put on the market will make sure that we have the right amount, and also that both as a patient and the doctor, we can review its use on a dashboard, which of course benefits home care. We're moving on to our next startup. PerAGraft develops an individual patient implant for cardiovascular applications. And the team has combined an end-to-end digital process chain with an innovative textile manufacturing process. From Germany, here is Valentin Gesche. Good luck.
Thank you very much. This is John. He's 65 years old, he's a family father, and what John doesn't know, he has a ticking time bomb inside of him, an aortic aneurysm. It's a weakness in the aortic wall, and at any time it could burst and he could bleed to death. Now imagine getting such a diagnosis only to realize that it will take you at least 6 to 8 weeks before you can get the life-saving surgery. My name is Dr. Valentin Gesche, CEO and co-founder of PerAGraft. I started this business because I never wanted anyone to feel the agony of waiting for a life or death solution. The aorta is the biggest blood vessel. In a healthy state, it has the size of a banana. But when it comes to the bulge-like aneurysm, it can grow to the size of an orange and become life-threatening. 32,000 patients are diagnosed alone in Germany each year. And when vital outgoing arteries, such as the renal arteries, are involved, it's a complex case requiring a patient-individualized implant for endovascular repair. And device options are limited. We have a current delay in delivery of 6 to 8 weeks for a patient-individualized implant to date. Why? Because the underlying manufacturing process is very slow. Many manual process steps involved, making it non-scalable, and we have a very high price of up to 35,000 euros per implant. And people like John may die on the waiting list while waiting for their patient-individualized implant to be produced, as it affects 5% of all patients. This is exactly where we come into game. At PerAGraft, we have developed a technology enabling us to perfectly match the patient's individual needs and to cut down delivery time to less than 5 days instead of 6 to 8 weeks. How do we do it? We receive the CT scan from the hospital. We design the perfect implant for each and every patient on our proprietary software platform. And in the last step, we use our innovative textile manufacturing to produce the individualized implants, including all individual elements in just a single process step. So we sell patient individualized implants to hospitals. And our innovation is based on a data translation from the medical image data to the individualized design using the software and the strong data management. We translate the design into a textile machine code. This enables us to fast and automatically produce the unique textile structures, resulting in a high number of clinical benefits. So we save time, we save money, and we save lives. In Europe and the US alone, we're looking at a €1 billion market opportunity for complex aortic aneurysms. And focusing only on the 5% of patients who cannot afford to wait 6 to 8 weeks, we are targeting an annual revenue of €20 million by 2027, based on a competitive price of €25,000 per implant. We are the only manufacturer with a very short time to patient. Due to our technology, we will build a single product solution for the entire aorta. We created a delivery device which is intuitive and easy to use for the surgeon, and due to our design, we have a very high degree in individualization. We will finalize product development and carry out clinical trials to reach CE mark. Our targeted market entry is Germany, using direct sales to build the brand. There is a DRG code in place which will facilitate market entry. Next, we will include distributors for the international expansion across Europe, and we aim to get FDA approval by 2028. We are a dedicated and passionate team of 3 engineers who've been working together for more than 8 years, and we're backed by a team of amazing advisors, KOLs, and medical device industry experts who guide us in clinical, regulatory, and business matters. We have successfully shown the proof of principle in a 3-month preclinical trial in the sheep model. We are funded by a €1 million grant, and we have received the second highest endowed innovation prize in Germany. We have 2 patents pending and 3 more in preparation. We are currently raising €2.5 million to get first in human ready. It's an attractive investment case because we're a highly differentiated startup with key USPs in an attractive growing market, and we offer a platform technology to be used for further applications. So please come and join us on our journey to give people like John the best treatment option. And most of all, to design a world together in which each implant perfectly matches the patient's individual needs. Thank you.
Well done. That was Valentine Gachet. It's time for our jury. Who has a first question? Fabrice.
Yes, thank you very much. So how sustainable is the competitive advantage to manufacture personalized?
We believe it's very sustainable because there's a lot of, you mean compared to competitors? Sorry, just.
Exactly. The main advantage you raise is that you're going to build a personalized implant in 5 days versus months. Yeah, and what's underlying so that you can compete on this benefit and sustain it compared to competition, because there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So first of all, it's a unique textile structure which has never been used. So we use a different textile technology than our competitors. And there's a lot of knowledge and know-how involved in this process. So to know how to get from the image data to the textile machine code, knowing that a textile will behave in a certain way, this is exactly where we see our advantage and which we keep as a trade secret and which will keep us ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the jury?
Hi, Valentine. A nice pitch. Can you tell us a little bit more about those 5% of patients that cannot wait?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. It depends on the aneurysm size, and when it actually the risk at a certain point, the risk of rupture mounts in an exponential way, and so people who have a size of 6 or 7 centimeters, when they get to the clinic for the first time, they need an urgent treatment. So it's still an elective repair. So we're focusing on elective repair in the first step, but it's much faster, and we can offer these patients the best tailored solution for their problem.
Understood.
Let's move to Todd then.
Yeah, the medical device classification that you're in, which one is that?
It's a class 3 device.
Yeah.
So then let's move to Todd.
And how are these grafts delivered? I mean, is this an open procedure? Is this via catheter or?
It's via catheter. So we designed a delivery system, which is a delivery catheter to implant the device.
All right, and I see that Aiden also had a question.
Hi, you're quite big competitors, and they're off-the-shelf devices, so there is no delay. So if anything, you will have a delay customizing it. So my question is, that's part of it, but also what makes it customized? I'm kind of confused because you know, the off-the-shelf devices have different sizes and they seem to be okay. So why do you need customized?
You need them when you have when the outgoing arteries are involved. Meaning, as you can see here, when the renal arteries are involved, then to have an endovascular device, you need the holes. So when you fit it from the inside, as you can see here, you need the holes to be exactly positioned in front of the outgoing arteries.
But is the aneurysm not there? In
is.
that region,
So
you have to not have those holes where the aneurysm is, that right?
Sorry?
You need to have those holes in the region that's outside the aneurysm region.
No, it's actually affects like when we have complex cases. So when the aneurysm affects the renal arteries or the proximal neck, so the part from the aneurysm to the next vital artery is too small. So to anchor the device, if you use a standard device, you need at least 15 millimeter of healthy neck length, parallel neck. And if you don't have this, this is exactly where we come into game, because then we can position the device higher up.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I think this is a naive question, but what's to stop other people coming into this market and doing exactly what it is that you're doing?
As I mentioned in the first question, there's a lot of know-how to know how to produce these kind of textiles in such a way that you have the right accuracy and to position these holes, which are directly included in the manufacturing process. This is how we gain the speed. That's a very knowledge-based process, and there's not a lot of experts out there who are able to use this kind of textile technology.
So there is no IP anywhere in this business?
Yes, there is. We have 2 patents pending and 3 more in preparation. So we use both trade secrets and IP to secure our position.
Okay, and what's the IP for?
So first of all, one of the IPs is to exactly on the manufacturing process and the resulting implant, so to create the individualized devices. And the other one is on the assembly of the stent and the graft structure.
Okay, thank you.
And with that, we have to conclude our jury round. Thank you so much, Valentin, and also best of luck to you.
Thank you
that
very
was
much.
PerAGraft, and what they want to do is, with their solution, want to speed up the process for people who are suffering from aneurysms or are very close to that and need an operation. Nowadays, that can take up to 6 to 8 weeks waiting, and that, of course, is a big risk. So what they would like to do is speed that up to 5 days. That would be wonderful if we can do that. We're moving on to our next pitch, this time by RT-Safe. Radiotherapy is one of the major weapons against cancer. Despite the high-tech maturity of this treatment, safety issues do exist, particularly when the brain is treated. RT-Safe has developed a patient-specific and individual exact model of the head, just to take away some of those risks. Joining us today is Josef Dalesios. Good luck, Josef.
Actually, if there is a small change, I am Evangelos Papas. Yeah, no worries. I am Evangelos Papas, the founder and CEO of RT-Safe. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. So RT-Safe is a company that has already improved the lives of cancer patients globally. We have developed, patented, and commercialized the world's first personalized care solution in radiation oncology. And the main challenge we are addressing has to do with uncertainties that are present in radiotherapy of cancer patients. There's a clear need for increased safety in radiotherapy, recognized also by WHO. So RT-Safe is here towards bringing a zero-risk radiotherapy. In the initial stage of our development, we are focused in brain tumor patients. And when such a patient receives radiotherapy, the aim of radiation is to kill the cancer cells. However, it's not rare, due to these uncertainties, that the surrounding healthy tissues are also damaged, and this can lead to severe side effects or even death. So what if it was possible, before treating the actual patient, for the doctors to be able to treat a perfect replica of that patient that interacts with radiation exactly like the living patient and also detects radiation, so that they can evaluate the safety and efficiency of the overall treatment? So this is feasible with us. This is what we do. We, by harnessing the combined power of 3D printing technology and material science, and by using the anonymized CT scans of a patient, we can build a patient-specific model for this purpose. In this case, in this picture, you can see an 80-year-old boy suffering from brain cancer, a model by RT-Safe, and the whole medical team treats this model as if it is the living patient. They can evaluate the treatment, fine-tune the treatment, and thereafter apply it safely to the living patient. So this is the PseudoPatient, our patented and FDA-cleared innovation. An innovation that brings peace of mind to the patients, that also provides added reassurance to doctors, and they also can say that the PseudoPatient prevents from damaging healthy tissues. There are more than 4 million patients every year that can benefit from our technology. And with a cost of 1.5k euros per patient, this leads to a 6 billion euros annual market. Competition offers a one-size-fits-all approach. On the other hand, RT-Safe offers personalized quality assurance solutions. So we are minimizing radiotherapy risk to the minimum. There are clear benefits for patients, physicians, clinics, and insurance companies, mainly because of the maximization of safety and efficiency of the treatment. Medical malpractice is heavily reduced. We are 5 years old. We have a clear commercial traction, a very important contract with one of the giants of the field called Elekta, distributors in 20 countries. We started to have revenue, and we are accredited by notable end users throughout the globe. We are really proud to have reached some clear milestones. We have a solid IP status, more than 70 scientific publications, all the certifications required towards building the business, and most significantly, the PseudoPatient is 510(k) FDA cleared. We do have a seal of excellence from EU, and recently the PseudoPatient was nominated as one of the 100 most technologically significant products for the year 2019 globally. How have we made it so far? With 2 million euros fund 3 years ago, and with a great team. So we have built a multidisciplinary team composed by business, marketing, and sales managers. Moreover, academic and industrial KOLs serve as directors of our board. We do have a clear plan towards reaching more than 60 million in revenue 5 years post-funding, mainly by contracts with high-end selected clinics in USA, Europe, and Southeast Asia. The ask is for 3 million euros towards attracting sales experts, build machine space in the US, apply aggressive marketing, and also do R&D for other body parts. So every treatment is unique, every patient is unique, and they worth a personalized reassurance of the safety and the efficiency of their treatment. Following our IP status and commercial traction, we do believe that this is the right time for RT-Safe to find the right financial partners towards boosting our business growth and social vision. Let's improve cancer patient lives together. Thank you so much.
Well done, Evangelos Papas, that was. Let's move to our jury. I see that Aiden has a question. Go ahead.
Can you tell me what's different, or what difference you have over current techniques, where they take a CT scan or an MRI and they have a 3D model, and you're able to model or plan the radiation treatment to get exactly the right spot? That's the first thing, which is used extensively at the minute and very accurately. The other thing is this will not get around organ movement, which can happen a lot during radiotherapy between the scan and the actual treatment.
Starting from the second part, this is why we started with brain tumors, because in the brain practically nothing moves. So this is why we mainly started with brain cancer patients. On the first part, radiation oncology is a medical practice where there is no actual proof of the medical practice. As you correctly said, there is a clear plan based on medical images. And the radiation oncologist implements the overall treatment plan. However, there is a difference between the treatment plan of the actual aim of the doctor and what is actually implemented. It's a big chain of many, many links in practice. And it's not rare that some of these links will not work perfectly. So we are the first solution globally to offer a personalized quality assurance process. The current status is that everybody's treatment is first tested on a cylinder or on a cube. In this way, only few links of the whole chain are tested. With our approach, the whole treatment end-to-end is completely tested and verified.
But are you not adding another link by creating a model?
Absolutely not, because we are creating a pseudo-patient, meaning that the overall treatment has many links. The patient herself is not a link, it's a part of the whole treatment. Don't know if this was a satisfying answer to your question, but it's not an extra link. It's a verification process using the same patient at the end of the day.
All right, we're moving to Todd, because I see he has a question as well.
Yes, could you tell me what your patents actually are covering?
Yeah, the patent, it's one patent covering the whole field of personalized quality assurance in radiation oncology. No matter the body parts, no matter the way you are detecting those, etc. Because our phantoms can be filled with a special polymer gel that takes the role of soft tissue. But in the patent, we have all the other options that might be used. And we are using them currently.
Great, thank you.
Who else of the jury has a question? Evangelos.
Yep. So sorry, who was going?
Excuse me?
No, I was just wondering who you called out. But anyway, since I'm talking, just to follow on Aidan's question, I think this is really at the heart of this. How or what data do you have to show that this actually works? How have you validated that this is now an improvement over the classical MRI and CT planning?
We have done many scientific publications. Last year, we presented in the American Society of Radiation Oncology results from 208 brain tumors that were retrospectively treated by high-end centers in the US and in Europe. And we experimentally showed that more than 10% of these treatments were unacceptable in terms that the dose was delivered a few millimeters away from the actual tumor, or the dose was too high or too low. So from retrospective studies, because it is very easy for a treatment to be copy-pasted, we have many evidence to support the added value of what we are doing. And also in practice, some of these clinics detected some issues in some of the links of the whole chain of treatment that they didn't realize earlier. So a small improvement in their clinics even currently provides a better treatment to all the succeeding patients.
Those 10% of patients where the radiation missed the target, what was the recovery rate in those patients relative to the patients where the radiation hit the target?
You know, there is a huge spectrum of side effects depending on where the initial target is. For example, if the target is very close to the optical chiasm, the patient might have an issues with her vision. So where the tumor actually exists plays a huge role. This is why we can have small side effects, severe side effects, or in some cases even death. The possibility of this kind of medical errors is not huge. However, it's extremely important, and there is a requirement by the law to for each department.
I have to cut you short, Evangelos. Time flies. I do realize that. Thank you for your answers. Thank you for your pitch. Well done. The jury is going to go over this round of pitches and score them as well. Yes, the last one in this round was RT-Safe. And yeah, if you're using radiotherapy on someone's brain, you can imagine that aiming for the right spot is incredibly important. So what RT-Safe does is they make a replica of the individual patient's head for doctors to rehearse on, so to say. And you can imagine that, so both for doctors and for patients, that is a very reassuring thought.